today we're going to cover using RunSignup as an all-in-one charity bib platform. And I'm Natalie.
And I'm Kathy Wise, and I am with the Semper Fi Fund, and we have been working with Natalie, I think she said that in the past presentation, for 10 years, and we love RunSignup, and so we're going to tell you about some of our success stories and how we use RunSignup for fundraising. So what are charity bibs? Is everyone in here with a charity? Yes? Show of hands. No? You're with a raise? Okay. We are going to talk about the 3 types of bibs. So charity bibs, for the most part, we work exclusively with the large races because those are our biggest fundraising. So Boston Marathon, Marine Corps Marathon, New York City Marathon, Chicago Marathon. That's where we found our biggest fundraising success. And so we apply as a charity to be one of those chosen ones, and we get an exclusive amount of bibs. So for each race, it varies in the amount of bibs. It could be 5 bibs. It can be, for Marine Corps Marathon, we have 400 bibs. It just varies on how many bibs we have as to the different levels of fundraising. So with some races, they allow us to purchase the bibs up front, and then basically we're in charge of selling those bibs. Other races, they pay the registration fee directly to the race. So it just is really dependent. But once they reach that fundraising goal, whichever we've set for that race, it varies. We have our lowest amount is $600 and our highest amount is $10,000. So it varies on what the goal is, but once they reach that goal or the fundraising deadline that we've given to them, then they'll earn the entry into the race and we will assist them with registration. So like I said, the higher the demand of the race, the higher the fundraising. Some of the races set it themselves. Other ones allow us to. Marine Corps Marathon, it's $0. We pick it completely. We are at $600 for Marine Corps Marathon. Like I said, that's our lowest. And our largest is Boston. Boston requires us to raise $5,000, but we have found that, there's a big enough demand that we've upped it to $10,000, and we've been very successful at that number. So it just depends. The ones that are in the middle, like New York City Marathon's $3,000. Okay, so we charge a registration fee for every event. It's typically $50. What we charge that registration fee for is to make our fundraisers have skin in the game. If we say, set up your fundraising page, we find that it stays at $0 for months on end, and we have to do a lot to encourage them to start fundraising. But when they pay that $50, they get their shirt in the mail. They feel some kind of ownership. They've gotten a present that, they can wear that proudly. They can start showing that on social media, and they're ready to go. So it just is a little incentive to say, you've paid something, get to work, right? Okay, so yes, there's 3 different reasons why we charge the registration fee. I'm going to talk about Marine Corps Marathon the most because that is our biggest event, and most of the screenshots you will see are from that event. It's our largest fundraising event, our largest participation event. But some require the registration fee up front. So like I said, for Marine Corps Marathon, we bought 400 spots. So we had to sell those. So we actually took the full registration fee up front in previous years. So we took the $180 right away instead of like the $50. And then we'll talk about that. But that was a fee that's up front. Other races, they'd pay the registration fee directly to the race. And so that's once they reach that fundraising, like New York City Marathon.
When you pay for the spots up front, do you pay for the spots before you sell them?
Correct.
Or you just pay them?
Yeah, no, we pay for all the entries up front, and then we're required to sell them. So if we don't sell them, we lose them, and we lose that money. But like New York City Marathon, they would pay that directly to New York Roadrunners. Like that would be a registration fee. We'd give them the link, and then they would pay that directly to them. So we would never be part of that process. And then also to recoup the cost, like I said, $50, it's a minimal amount. They're getting a dry fit shirt. They're usually getting race amenities, like we're going to talk about all the different things that we give them throughout race weekend. But we have partnered events, like the list that you saw. And then we also have community athletes. So if someone's interested in doing a triathlon in Ohio, or if they're interested in doing a mountain trail ride in some other place and they wanted to fundraise, we call them community athletes. It's not something that we are a charity partner with, but that they can choose their own event and do that and fundraise. And that is set up all year long. So they'll get other incentives that they wouldn't get throughout the race. They get a shirt and then they'll earn other incentives. Okay, what options are available for people who want to fundraise? Guaranteed. Yep, event entries, we covered that. Fundraiser only entries. Okay, so We have several people who've come to us, like they've qualified for Boston, but they want a reason to run, like they want to fundraise for somebody. So then they would sign up for us. They have their entry to the race through other means, but they've also set up a fundraising page through us. So that is bonus on top of the entries that we already had. And then, like I said, the community athlete program are those who are doing events other than our partnered events. So how do we determine our fundraising minimums? Like I said, sometimes it's in the contract. Sometimes the race makes us say, like, this is the fundraising minimum. You can always go above and beyond. They'll say this is our minimum for this race at your partner level. And some races have different partner levels. And they say, if you're gold, you're $1,250. If you're silver, you're, $3,000. So you can always make it higher, but you can never make it lower than the minimum that they set. So we always try a few years at the minimum, and then we'll, see if it's really successful. And if there's a demand, then we'll go higher. But incentivize your fundraisers to go above and beyond. Yes. So that is an interesting stat that we just looked up last night. So Marine Corps Marathon changed their policy. So we would purchase all of the entries up front. We would charge the $180. And then we would say if they raised $1,000, we would refund the $180. This last year, they changed it where the runner paid the entry to the race, and we didn't have the option to offer the refund. And in 2018, 34% of our people went above $1,000 so that they could get that refund. And when we didn't offer the refund, it was down to 26. So the refund's a really good option. I really highly recommend that. Our CFO said, bring that refund option back. Some exciting things that I've heard this morning, that discount, the donation discount, I think that people would really do that as well to get that free entry. So that's something, if we can't do the refund, I think we'll do the donation discount.
At what amount would you do the refund?
So it was $1,000. They got their entry refunded. Mm-hmm.
So the interesting part about that is, your minimum is $600.
Yes.
So you had, like in 2017, there was a significant amount of people that would raise $600 or donate $600 during registration and then just stop. So it just encouraged 34% of people to go
above and
$400 further.
Yes. Okay. Teams. Obviously, the acronym, together everyone achieves more is so true. We find that our team captains, when we have, really motivated team captains, they're recruiting, they get our message out there. We do not really spend money on advertising. I mean, if you've heard about the Semper Fi Fund, unfortunately, you've probably heard about us because of you knowing somebody who's been assisted. That's not something that we spend money on, keep our overhead low. So we encourage our team captains to go out there and recruit and share our message and to motivate. The team captains often create their own group pages and they send out motivational messages and encourage each other and have runs and get-togethers. So that's really great. And support. Absolutely. Then not only do they support each other and encourage each other through, the motivational messages, they help support us on our end. They do a lot of the work for us. Like we'll reach out to the team captains. We see that you have 5 people on your team who haven't reached their fundraising minimum. It definitely takes a lot of the work out for us. They will contact those team members, see how they're doing. It's just kind of a great communication tool that we can talk to them. They can support their runners and figure out what's going on with them.
So these teams, they're not all in the race. Some are, some aren't.
No, they're all in the race. They're all in the race, yes. So it's a slide that's coming up, but you can see we have teams that are 2 people and we have teams that are 50 people. So it just, it's really encouraging people to join you. So,
but you have some teams that are comprised of people who wanted a guaranteed entry and then fundraiser only.
Yes,
so they can be in either event.
Yes,
within the race on the team.
Correct. Okay. This next slide has some great stats. So you can see, so we had 38.8% that joined a team. 45% of our donations were raised by team members. This team right here, this raised this $172,000, was a team of 3 people. 3 people. They did an individual event called Hell on the Hill. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that event, but they have raised an amazing amount of money. We had a team of 3 people as well at the Marine Corps Marathon that raised like $50,000, and we had a team of 50 people that raised $60,000. So again, it doesn't matter. Like obviously the team of 50 people was raised a lot less money individually, but yes, they all encouraged each other. That team has been number 1 for several years. So it's pretty amazing.
They like to outdo themselves.
They do. And competition. And I think that's the other thing about teams is the competition. And we reward our teams and we recognize them. You can see that on RunSignup's page if you go to teams and individuals, and it will show the teams. They look at that every day. They are so competitive with each other and they want to see that they're in the lead. I mean, they'll screenshot it and be like, I'm within $5 of him, so it's just kind of fun. Facebook fundraising. So Natallie stole my thunder and shared this slide already. But the one thing I really wanted to say about this slide is obviously you can see in 2018, we only knew of 50 fundraisers. That's the thing. They could have been out there on Facebook. We just didn't know about them. And the process was so difficult. Michelle and Chris came up with this amazing instructions, screenshot this, email it to us, show us. But when you get that Facebook report, it literally says Ann's fundraiser. Like you have nothing. Like you can just see a list of Ann's fundraiser. You don't know anything about any of those people, which that's okay. We don't need to necessarily know about the donors, but we do want to know that they were participating in an event for RunSignup or one of our events. So that was something we were missing. And the only way we would know is if they would contact us directly and tell us about it. Now with RunSignup integration, look at that. I mean, that's amazing. And that, is only since July of 2019. That's insane. So I can't wait to see what the numbers are next year. And I love seeing that the Facebook average donation amount is so much higher. So I definitely encourage, if your charity is not registered with Facebook and is not receiving funds from Facebook, get signed up. It's the easiest thing. Again, my father-in-law, he's, late 70s, and he just did a Facebook fundraiser. So it's pretty awesome. It just came up.
And one thing about the Facebook fundraisers is that default fundraising message, it does pull over to the Facebook fundraiser, and you guys do a really good job of making that very specific. So
we were just talking when we're going to add the Facebook directions in our welcome email as well and remind them that it's there. So I think that that's a great thing as well. So, okay. So yes, how do we encourage? So we just talked about that. Chris just wrote that down as our notes of things to do is to add that. But we definitely tell them about that in newsletters. We have posted that on our group Facebook page. We have different groups for different races, but that's a way that we can communicate with them and tell them about Facebook fundraising, remind them of that option, and send reminders. Yes, we're okay with that. We are okay that they're anonymous, right? We just want to know that they're going towards that event. So as long as we have that information, we can be happy with that. I think that some people are like, we want to know where that information is coming from. We want to know who those donors are. It's not as important as it is like that they're supporting that event. Right? Okay.
Yeah, and then that below, that's a quote from Tom, your CFO. So he was very impressed.
Yes. Make it as easy as possible. Absolutely. We've just heard about so many amazing tools. I was making some notes of some tools that we're definitely going to be adding the referral codes and the donation discounts. I think that there's so many tools that we've learned about today that we didn't even know about. I think that we're really good about using a lot of the tools that RunSignup offers, but there's so much more. So we'll be even adding those and using those tools. Fundraiser management and reports. I'm not going to lie. This is not something that I do. Our CFO is amazing and he does all of the reporting. So I'm going to actually let Natallie talk about.
Okay. She actually just mentioned it for the team competition. So on the race pages for all of your events, you show your top fundraiser list and your top team fundraiser list. So that shows, and then the team names and the team amounts are very clearly displayed. So that promotes team competition. And then enabling fundraising management. So you also have an FAQ tab on some of your race pages that has an outline of how people can update their fundraising page, how to share their fundraising page. If you start utilizing those email templates, you could also add how they can send emails, adding that custom section, making it a tab. The easier you make it, the more tools that your fundraisers will utilize and the more they'll share their page. Be available. I know I mentioned this in the last presentation, but Semper Fi Fund does such a good job of just actually everyone on your team. You're always available for all of your fundraisers. So you have that direct contact information in your confirmation email and the fundraiser created email. So
The smaller your events, obviously, the better relationship that you can build with them and the experience that you can have. Sometimes I think less is more. I think that some of our larger events, we just don't get to know people on a personal basis. And so some of our longest fundraisers are from those really small events. So don't think that it has to be some huge event to have those high fundraising dollars.
So how do we make things easier for Semper Fi Fund? When we first released our CRM view of the registration records, my first email was to Kathy and Michelle, just because within our CRM view, we show the total number of dollars fundraised and the total number of dollars that an individual has donated. So Sean Kelly, he's one of your most loyal fundraisers, yeah, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
He has raised $133,000.
And even though he's participated in 25 events, I believe that all of that fundraising was really done through like 7 events. So it's pretty amazing.
And then we also have a repeat participant report. So Semper Fi Fund has been on RunSignup for 5 years, but when they came over, we imported some of their past participant data so that they could have this repeat participant report to see their supporters. So for the data that we imported, you can see like Anthony has done, I think this is from Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
He has done the race 11 years. So, and if you actually download this report, we have a column for every year. So you can see every single year. If you missed one, it would say no in the column. So you know which year he missed.
This is really important for us because we reward them. So, a few years ago, we did gifts for 5 years and up. This year, we had so many people crossing that 10-year threshold that we were able to do a brunch for them and really recognize them and just make them feel the love. I mean, it's pretty amazing that people can come back for over 10 years to the same event and keep fundraising and not have that fundraiser fatigue and finding that way to keep coming back. So it's something we really want to reward.
Our fundraiser minimum report. So if you are an event like Semper Fi Fund where you have that required minimum, one of the reports that we have is a fundraiser minimum report. So you can actually if you clicked on that first option, hide fundraisers that have not met their requirement, it would filter the report and only show you people who are outstanding. And then it's a click of a button to send reminders to those people. And then fundraising report generator. So one of the reports that we have is just a quick way for you to run your top teams. You can sort it by amount raised or by team size. And then we also have this for individual fundraisers. And this can also be broken out by fundraising team type. So we actually specifically built this report for Coleman Philly because of their team competition that they do. And they have so many different team fundraising types and prizes that they give. But this is up-to-date, real-time, click of a button report that we can generate. And this is my favorite quote of all time.
Because it's from a finance guy.
Because it's from Tom. And usually when you work with CFOs, we specifically asked him, what would you like to see? Is there anything you want to change? And he said, RunSignup's reporting provides everything we need. I don't have any suggestions for improvement. It's good just like it is. And I want to make this my screensaver. But when you guys came over to RunSignup in 2015, we really didn't have report. We had a basic report. We didn't have all of the different tabs, all of the different reports, all of the different options. And so it was because of feedback from Kathy and Elizabeth at the time and Tom. So they've really helped us make our reports what they are today. So that's why he likes them.
Yes.
So, and then supporter engagement.
Connect, motivate, repeat. One thing I was going to say about Facebook, obviously she told you that Allison's doing that tomorrow, but a quote from Michelle Leonard here. She said the Facebook integration was the best thing RunSignup ever did. One thing when we had an open spot for Chicago at the last minute, and this person had to raise $1,200 in a week? I think they had about a week. And Facebook was the way they did it. And I think that you touched on this, they don't know where to start sometimes. And it's the easiest way for them to get that message out there without doing the direct ask, because people are really afraid of the direct ask. And when they put that up there, it takes that conversation out of that. The old way was it took 3 times to ask somebody for a donation before they would typically donate. And that allows them that ability right there where they're not having to ask. It comes back up on their Facebook page every, I don't know how many days or whatever it is, like that this is still going on, that they're this close and they can see that. It's a reminder. So excited about the Facebook fundraising, very excited. Newsletters. Currently we use Constant Contact. We're excited. I think we might start using the email option. And so that was really fun to see that demonstration and see how we can add pictures and information in there. We send out newsletters typically once a month for each event. We do a lot of newsletters. Chris in the front row creates those. It's a ton of work. Most of the information is the same for every race, and there's a few things that are different, but we're usually telling some story about one of our service members that's being assisted. We're, we're giving Facebook instructions. Now we don't have to do that, but we did that before. We just tell them about things. And then obviously when it gets closer, we tell them about the things that are happening for that event specifically, where they can, go to a dinner, things of that nature. Closed Facebook groups. So Marine Corps Marathon, we do not create a closed Facebook group because it's so big. But for Boston, New York, different ones that are like 15 to 20 people, we absolutely have closed Facebook groups. They get to know each other. They can encourage each other, post pictures, ask questions. It's a great way for them to communicate with each other and with us. And then, like I said, we have the public Facebook groups. Post. Yes, we like to have everyone share their success stories, and we try to highlight our athletes as well. So yes, returning donor and fundraiser is because of their experience. And I just can't express that enough. I think especially with the younger generation, they're looking for an experience that they want to know. The older generation wants to know, what are my dollars going for? And the younger generation wants to have that experience and interaction. So we try to provide opportunities for them to meet our service members who they're assisting and have a really fun weekend. So what do we do? Yes, like I said, it's really important for us. Oh, that picture's...
That is not showing in presenter mode.
It is not. Sorry.
That is sad.
Yeah, I don't know why that's not showing. So how do we accomplish that? Like I said, the very first thing we do is we give them team gear. And make your logo... I wish you could have seen that picture. We try to make our logo. We have red shirts. It's very large. You can see the logo coming, from a long ways away. You want to advertise through that. Don't make it something busy that you're unidentifiable. You want to be able to cheer for the people on the course. You want to be able to see that. We always provide a lunch or dinner for our partnered events. So we celebrate them. We give out top fundraiser prizes. We acknowledge them. Sometimes we do a slideshow. We have all different things that we do to honor them depending where we are. We always try to have a service member come and speak and tell about their experience. They're participating. They're on the course with them. And it's a great way to interact. Cheer items. Okay, so we can't forget the family. We have big foam hands that are like really fun and obnoxious, noise makers, poster signs that they can fill out. Cowbells. Yep. We don't use cowbells because another charity that we're always with uses cowbells, but we have other noise makers. Yeah. So we have a lot of really fun cheer items. We try to come up with something each year. And then I seriously, people are like, what is your job? I'm like, I'm the biggest cheerleader. Cheerleading and fundraising and on race weekend. Like we get out there. A really fun video that I could show of Michelle doing the YMCA out on the course. But we want to make it fun for them, and we want to be there, and we want to encourage them. Oh, we have SFF staff. Oops, typo there. Yes, it's okay. This is a tent because if we have availability, we will have a post-race tent because we want them to have a place to come back, meet their family. They have a place to congregate. We will do our very best. We keep our overhead so low. We get Subway sandwiches to donate, Dunkin' Donuts to donate, Starbucks to donate. So we have food amenities. And then if we have the ability for Boston and Marine Corps, we have a team of massage therapists that come in. So that's a really nice bonus for them. They are amazing, dedicated. They donate their time, but a lot of massage therapists will donate their time to come for a race weekend. So I encourage you to reach out for that. I just think that it's a great meetup with your family and friends. Celebration party. We have some music.
All those endorphins are pumping at the end of the race, so people are in a good mood,
and it's your best time to get them to come back.
Yes, it's fun, and it's a chance for you to tell them thank you. Another chance for you to tell them thank you.
But we also do it pre and post.
Yeah.
Right. They'll drop their bags instead of dropping their bag.
You do like pastries and coffee.
It's kind of a pain to get to at the end of a big race. we might be a little bit closer. But some of those races where we're charity partners, we're not allowed to have a tent at the end. Like New York City Marathon, we're not a big enough charity.
Right, we're too small.
So we don't have the opportunity to have a tent.
But we do a big luncheon there.
We
How
do
many
big
fundraisers do you have in like in Boston?
Boston's pretty small. We have 20.
15.
Well, with our fundraiser only,
Right.
20. Yeah, we have 15 entries for that. Like I said, it really just depends.
Marine
But I will tell you, for Boston, we only had 15 entries last year, and we raised $200,000.
Wow.
So,
For Marine Corps, they have 400.
yeah.
That's great.
Yes. And so that 400 is just 400 fundraisers. We also have all of our injured service members and people who just come to the expo, buy our shirts and things. So this year we estimated over 800 people on the course wearing Semper Fi Fund gear.
Sea of red.
It was a sea red. Yes, it's very good. So that, like I said, we talk about that one the most, but really sometimes less is more. Like I said, Boston, we only had 15 runners and we raised $200,000, right? So I think that is built on those relationships. Obviously, Boston Marathon is, Boston Marathon, but it's also built on those relationships. I mean, how many people did we have come back, wanting to come back, right?
And run again.
You're like, you want to raise $10,000 again? And they do. Or they're like, they want to try a Marine Corps Marathon. They want to have that experience with us. Or, they're going for that Abbott world and doing that. But yes. Okay. Fundraising is a team sport. So I think that covers most everything that we wanted to talk about. Do you have any specific questions about fundraising or anything that you've experienced?
I have a question specific to, so say you have your 400,
Yeah.
right? And so you may have a certain number that don't meet that fundraising goal. Do you just lose those bids? Do you guys try to oversell just in case? Data that you guys can do at this point?
It's a very interesting balancing act, right? Like, because we keep some back for, that race specifically, we keep some back for sponsors and things of that nature. So we do run the risk of, losing a few of those bibs. So we try to compensate with the over fundraising, right? Because we have that. Now, last year, we didn't have to do that because we didn't buy anything up front. They paid the race directly. So there's a really big benefit of paying the race directly because it takes that liability off of us, right? So that was a financial gain there and not having to have that overhead and, spend that money up front.
But at the same time, you had
exactly
8% less people
Right.
hit the $1,000 mark.
Exactly. So it's a trade-off, right?
Now, is that Semper Fi's choice of the bibs?
Yes. So it was, you could pay for them all up front, which we had done in the past, or you could have the race.
So
Or
you-
pay the registrar pay the race directly. And we opted for that. But now we saw that decrease in that refund.
Yeah.
So we're gonna reevaluate and I think add that donation. And I think that might offset that situation because a lot of people do want to just donate the money right up front or put their credit card in and do the whole amount. So I think that will be our solution to that drop.
And then I might be wrong here, but like back in the day, Marine Corps didn't allow any type of bib exchanges or transfers or anything. So at one point your team size was a little bit larger.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of dropped when they changed their whole policy. And now, because that used to be the only way to get in once the lottery was closed, like you had to have a charity spot. And then they made their policy more flexible. And now you could do a bib exchange. So a lot of charities lost some of the momentum because why would I raise $600 if Allison's just going to give me her bib for free?
Right.
But that the whole team gear and everything, all of the amenities and everything they do for all of their fundraisers, it creates such a huge draw and people just want to be part of the team. So it does take some time and effort to coordinate everything and do everything. But I think that's why your charity bib program is so successful because they want to support you and be part of your team.
Absolutely. I guess I just can't stress that enough. It's all about the experience. And if you can connect them to your mission in some way, depending on what your mission is, but, and make it fun. I know, Nick and I were talking at lunch, about a video that, we had created and I'm sorry, I'm going to use this as an example, but like the ASPCA, whatever the animal ones, and you're like so sad you like can't even watch the commercial because you're like bawling your brains out, like you're like I can't do this. Obviously, running is fun. And I mean, it's individual, but it's a team sport and you want to make it fun. So I think that if you encourage people to have a fun time and connect them to your mission in a fun way, it will make a big difference.
You do make people cry at your dinners, though.
I do. Just kidding. Not me,
Me
personally.
My mom and I flew out to the dinner, and you had some people speaking. And my mom is a person who cries at everything, so I'll just say that. But I looked over at her, and she's sobbing, and she's like, "I just want to give them all of my money." Because people were talking about their stories and like things you would never think about, and like what your grants are used for. So. Pretty great.
I know, Nick, can I use you as an example? So Nick was a fundraiser in 2007. Yes. And has been on Team Semper Fi since that day, right? So he's experienced both sides of the house. So excited to have him here.
I promise you sit in one of their dinners with the fundraisers and the veterans that they're helping, and you'll be a supporter for life. Honestly.
Seriously. I sat at Sean Kelly's table too, so I felt really special.
That's what you said. Special.
Well, thank you for being here.
Yes,
We really appreciate it.
thank you.